Hey guys, so I'm here with little Miss Athena. We're just chilling and resting in bed for the next couple of days just to kind of adjust to everything. So, I thought I'd get on here and do my birth story, and yeah, it was crazy. I went in at 36 weeks and 3 days, went to my doctor's office for one of my 2 weekly NST tests that I was getting due to hypertension that developed at 34 weeks. And baby girl was not doing so hot on the monitor. Her heart rate was accelerated, and the doctor sent me over to the hospital for the second time. And third time overall. First time I went was at 34 weeks, and then I went at 36, and then again at 37. So, and at 37.3, or 37.2, sorry, she was born at 37.3. At 37 weeks and 2 days, went into the hospital because of her accelerated heart rate. By the time I got upstairs, my heart rate was accelerated, and they're like, nope, you're done. We need to get this baby out. I said, okay. It was a very, very long process. I did not think it was going to be that long. Usually I'm done within 12 hours, and this time it took a total of 18 hours for her to become earthside. And what they started the Pitocin at 7 p.m., 7 or 8 p.m. And they just went right to Pitocin. They skipped the Cervatrex and the Cervidil and all that, all the cervix ripening this time, because I was already, I guess, pretty ripe because I was 3 centimeters dilated and 50% effaced. And so they they went straight to Pitocin, and they started it very low and slow. I started, and I was getting penicillin because I tested positive for group strep B at 36 weeks. So because of that, so I was on that. We watched, it's so crazy. Everything's kind of hazy still. We were able to watch while we waited. We watched the Gators win their basketball national championship, the third one in University of Florida's history for basketball. And now we have three national championships in football and in basketball, and several in other sports. Anyway, this is about this one, not about football, not about sports. At about 10 or 11, my contractions were getting pretty strong. And they were getting high, like in like the 60s, pain-wise, I guess, like when they reach their peak or whatever. So they were getting high, but they were not getting close together. They would roughly stay between 2 to 4 minutes apart. So they came in again at about, the issue was that this little stinker did not like the monitors, and they tried putting me on the wireless monitor, and that did not go well. She would not, they couldn't, the Bluetooth wasn't, they couldn't get an accurate reading on her. So they decided to put me back on the regular monitor, and I couldn't move and position and do what I needed to do to encourage her to move and my body to do what it needed to do. Because of that. And, which was really, really irritating that I got stuck because she couldn't stay on the monitor. Then they eventually put me on the monitors that go like on her head. And so at that point, I would have been able to get up and move around and whatever, but I got the epidural not long at like 3 a.m. They broke my water at 3. And, yeah, I think it was like 3 in the morning when they broke my waters. And I was still only at like 3 centimeters dilated and like 60% effaced when they came in and broke my waters. And I was like, I really thought, okay, once they break my water, my body will do what it needs to do, and it'll, with the natural Pitocin and everything like that, baby was she was handling it all beautifully. And my body just wasn't my body wasn't responding as fast as I wanted it to, and it was a very shocking experience for me at how slow this induction went. Because in the past, it's been like very low dose of Pitocin, and just to kind of jumpstart my body a little bit, break my waters, and boom, I have a baby. No, not this time. Not with this little girl. Completely different. They ended up doing the utmost Pitocin, which was like, I think 30. And my body it was just slow going. So they stopped the Pitocin for like an hour at around lunchtime. And I got to take a break. And they filled me up with fluids. And they essentially refilled my uterus with water for her. And I was able... I wasn't able to eat breakfast or what they brought me in for breakfast that morning on the 8th because the medications were actually making me sick. And that is something I never experienced before either. I've never thrown up in labor. And this time I threw up in labor. I think like 3 or 4 times. And it sucked. It was gross. It was nasty. And ugh. It was bad. So at like, I want to say at like 2 or 3, probably about 3 o'clock, my mom and sister-in-law went home to take a rest. They thought it was still going to be a while. And because I was still only, by the time they left, I was only at like I was barely at a 5 centimeters. So they left to take a breather and to get some sleep, which I can't blame them. They gave me some stuff, some nausea medicine, and I went to sleep for a bit. Joe went to sleep for a bit. And when I woke up, her heart rate sounded different. And every time I moved, it seemed different. Something was different. It wasn't picking her up on the monitor. And I'm like, how is that possible? It's on her freaking head. How is it possible that she's not being picked up on the monitor? What's wrong? And so I tried waking up my husband. And word of advice, ladies, when you go into labor, bring the Nerf gun. Shoot them damn Nerf bullets at your husband to wake his ass up. Because I couldn't get out of bed. And I was hollering at him to wake up. And he would not. And so I finally, I called my nurse and I'm like, something doesn't sound right with her heart rate. Can somebody come in and check? Can my nurse come in and check? And she's like, yeah, we'll be right in. So when the nurse came in, she checked me. She's like, or she tried to reposition the, like, monitor wires, I guess. I don't know. And move the stickers and whatnot to try to get it to read. My doctor came in. And at this point, they were also upping the Pitocin again. And almost had me at I think I did end up at a 30 again. And my doctor was like, she was very, I could tell that the next step was probably going to be a C-section if I had not progressed more. I could tell by her demeanor, by the way she was talking to me. I was like, this is where we're headed. Because at this point, I had been through 2 rounds of Pitocin. They'd broken my water, and I was just going very slow. So my doctor checks me, and I'm like, I'm probably not anywhere. I'm probably not past a 6. And at this point, I was discouraged. I was like, this sucks. I knew my body wasn't going to be ready. This is why this is going so slow. I'm going to end up in a C-section. Like, I was very discouraged. I was very angry and very emotional and upset. And she goes, no, you're at a 7, and I can stretch you to an 8, and you're 90% effaced. I was like, excuse me? And so, this was at 4:30 in the afternoon. So we wake up Joe, and I said, you need to call Bree. Her and Mom need to get back here, like, now. And my husband asked the doctor about, how long do you think? Oh, about a half hour, probably, before we have a baby. I'm like, yeah, right. It'll be longer. Probably be like an hour or so. And she's like, no. You'll have a baby in the next half hour. I'm like, sure. So they repositioned me and put me in like a, I guess, the throne position kind of thing, kind of let gravity do its job. And oh boy, did that work, and boy, did it work fast. Because I started feeling that pressure, and I said, you need to call them and find out where they are. This is happening. And that was at like 4:45, I think. I don't know. I didn't really look at the time. And they were like, we're 3 minutes away. We're pulling into the parking lot. Hold your breath. So, like, my sister-in-law said that she dropped my mom off at the door, went and parked her car, ran to the check-in, and they got up to our room at 5 o'clock. And no, because she was born at 5:31. So at about 5:15, they got up in the room. And they're like, they literally, just as they're right behind all the doctors and nurses, and everybody's like, got a spotlight on me and everything like that. I'm like, oh God, this is crazy that this is happening suddenly. And like, everybody gets into position and everything like that. And like, I push for 15 minutes, and she comes into the world. She came out beautifully. Like, no cord wrapped around her, no shoulder dystocia, no nothing. She came out. They immediately put her on me. I got that immediate skin to skin. She immediately started crying. Like, it was perfect. Labor was just a bitch. It just took so long. And it was a grand total of 18 hours of labor. And I hurt so bad right now. Like, I feel like I ran the freaking Boston Marathon and felt really good in the hospital, but they were on top of Tylenol and Motrin every, couple of hours. And then you get home and you get a Tylenol every 8 hours or as needed. And so, that's why I've been resting in bed. And I'm going to take the next 5 days to work on establishing milk supply and her latch and breastfeeding, even though that's going beautifully, working like a charm. She does great on it. I do not feel the need to call a lactation consultant this time. And I'm just taking it very slow. And the kids are adjusting. They're obsessed with her. They love her. They want to hold her. They want to kiss her. Levi's having a little bit of a hard time, which a little bit more of a hard time than Allie is. Allie's just stepped into big sister role like she's been preparing for it her entire life. Like, she's doing great. Levi, it's a big change. It's messed with his routine, which is troubling when you have autism. When you mess with their routine, it just throws everything into a tizzy for them. So, he's dealing with that, big emotions. I'm dealing with emotions, and we're just kind of trying to get through it and figure out normalcy. And right now normalcy is just getting all the snuggles in bed. And next week, we'll see what next week brings. As far as what normalcy will look like. And, yeah. So, that's kind of the condensed version of it. It was, like I said, a long 18 hours and slow going. But we made it through, and everybody's happy, healthy, and so beautiful. That's the most beautiful thing. So, yeah. So, that's the story. And, I will be back to posting, I'll be posting her month-to-month updates and stuff, as we go for the next year. So, we will talk to you guys in our next video. Bye! Bye. I sleep.